the entertainment highlight of the week.
Red Ray Gun Limited presents
The Benji and Nick Show. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good day.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good tidings we bring to you and the king.
Good USB drive.
Good gravy.
Good lava lamp.
Good Sir Knight.
Goodness.
Loch Ness. A long overdue victory for myself there.
I suddenly realised that all I was doing is just naming things in the room. I could just go on a good computer.
Good lava lamp.
Good lens cleaner.
Good Lenny. Dear, oh dear, Nick.
I suddenly thought that's cheating. Anyway, that was the Loch Ness game. It's not about Loch Ness and it's not a game.
It's certainly true, but it is very fun, and I recommend in this crazy time of self-isolation that everybody plays the Loch Ness game.
All the time.
All the time, yes. Just every second of the day.
Thinking, what is this? What am I doing?
Who am I? What place is this? But if you're listening, I'm not Nick.
And I'm not Benji.
But this is, of course, the Benji and Nick Show, where we talk about cult television, TV from the past, TV you might remember, TV you might want to forget, and just all the old classics, really.
Yeah, that's right. Today, we're doing the commentary for Doctor Who, The Sunmakers. Although, as I've typed it here, I've typed it without an A, so it's The Sunmakers.
The Sunmakers.
We continue with episode 3 of this 1977 sly, blatant, you decide, dig at the British tax system.
Ooh.
And in a moment, we'll be having your emails sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. But first, do you want to read this out?
Certainly, yeah, and you can choose the product this time.
Okay.
It'll be interesting. Okay, so the Benji and Nick Show is proud to be sponsored by The Village Shop, the online e-store run by the Unmutual website and Quit Media Limited. Your one-stop shop for all things Prisoner, Danger Man and Patrick McGoohan, including DVDs, Blu-rays, books, CDs, audio dramas, clothing, photos, homeware and gifts. When I said homeware there, it made me think of Ronnie Corbett. Homeware. I don't know why. New items are added weekly to that one. Benji and Nick Show listeners can enjoy a 10% discount on all purchases by using the code LOCHNESS10, all capital letters and all squashed together without any spaces. You use that at the checkout and you'll get your 10% discount. A further donation will also be made to Hope House Children's Hospice at no extra cost to you. So the address for that is www.theprisonershop.co.uk, and when you go on there it will actually say the Village shop at the top there, just in case you're confused that you might have gone to the wrong shop. So Nick, what have you got for us this week?
Well, I'm just looking at the front page actually, and I just am impressed that of the 4 top things I can see, 2 of them are Big Finish. There's The Prisoner Series 3 audio drama from Big Finish, which I've just learned apparently my ending to The Prisoner has been quite controversial with some people. I have had no wind of that controversy, so if folks you know something about this controversy, please, or controversy, depending on whichever way you want to pronounce it, please do write into podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. So yeah, The Prisoner and Callan here. But the thing that really hits me, apart from the Peter Wingard A Life Amongst Strangers biography paperback book, here is Racing Penny Farthings. Racing Penny Farthings.
Oh wow.
A twin pack of wind-up clockwork racing penny farthings with little men with, the top hats and moustaches.
That's brilliant,
and
isn't
bow ties. It's good, isn't it? I want that, actually. It's only $10.99. How big are they?
They're very cute, aren't they? Very cute. It doesn't say how big they are. I can imagine they're probably quite small.
Wouldn't it be funny if they turned up and they're like the size of your house?
Absolutely huge.
It's like some real nightmare image of this enormous. You hear a lorry going boop boop, vehicle reversing, and then the back opens, and these enormous penny farthings with big men in red
and if you want to
jackets
race them,
and
you have to
top hats.
get a ladder out the garage and prop it up next to them and climb up and try to wind them up.
You have to get permission from the local council.
Hello, I'd like to move my penny
government.
farthing down the road about a mile, if that's all right. Which is one turn of the wheel.
The wheel.
The wheel.
Well, there you are. That's what's going on there. There's an additional code, by the way, Good Gravy, that can get you 40% off the book Playboy Spies and Private Eyes, inspired by ITZ. Yeah. So there you go. So there's 2 codes there, Loch Ness 10 or Good Gravy. Also, you might like to have a look at nicholasbriggs.com. Shall I have a look at that as well?
Oh, do it, yeah. Why not? Eh?
This is my website. My plug of it last podcast inspired literally no purchases.
Oh, no.
I'm just going to... The top line ones here are the interesting DVDs. They're Noel Clarke films, 4321 and Adulthood. I'm in both those films.
Those.
Yeah.
Good
and
films.
So, yeah, they're available. I think there's just like one copy of each left. But I will sign them for you if you want them defaced like that. Also, there's a print called Audio Doctor, which is a bit of artwork.
That's really good, actually.
That's
really
based
cool.
on back in the old audio visuals days of me playing the Doctor.
There's
Dalek
Wow.
So presumably we have CDs of these, in spite of the fact that they're out of print on the Big Finish website. So there you go. Just a bit of a plug there. Just looking through. Yes, loads of CDs basically is what we're discovering here. What else? Books, e-books, photographs. What are the prints? Oh, there's some strange prints.
A strange prince who lives in the castle.
I am the strange prince. Well, I think that covers it. nicholasbriggs.com. You know, I mean, I can't bring myself to give it a huge recommendation, but bear in mind.
Come now.
You know, I might be able to buy my son a treat if you buy one of these things.
Packet of wine gums.
Coming up later, of course, later in the show, Jamie Anderson should be joining us. He doesn't speak like that, but I just started speaking like that. We'll be contacting him via Zoom, which should be far more efficient than my normal rubbish phone call to him. But we shall see.
Moderately efficient.
Moderately efficient. And of course, we'll be doing a commentary of the Sunman. Oh my goodness, Benji now has a background of the Dalek base in Planet of the Daleks.
Brilliant, isn't it?
I'm so thrilled, I don't think I can even speak anymore.
What more do you want? This is the beauty of Zoom for communication. You can pat the little Daleks on the head.
Your hand keeps disappearing into the wall.
I'm a Spider-Den.
It's like I'm doing a podcast with a bowl. Anyway, that's a little obscure reference. So the first email sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. Shall I read it?
Yeah, go for it, my friend.
This was entitled Late to the brackets Children's Party, because we did a kids special a couple of weeks ago. This was sent on the 22nd of March in the year 1151. Bleak times.
Good year.
And Mark Perkins, hello Mark, he said, I've only just listened to the kids TV pod and really enjoyed it. Along with you, I was looking up actors like Gordon Rollings, which I realised, he played Parsley, the very friendly lion.
Oh.
I'm a very friendly lion called Parsley. Yeah, brilliant. Sorry about the singing. Your mention of Fenella Fielding prompted me to tell you of a claim to fame. I once won a competition on Johnny Trunk's radio show. Who's Johnny Trunk? Was it the famous elephant DJ?
Stroke a swimwear salesman.
I wondered whether the microphone keeps wobbling, and I realise it's because the lead is wrapped around my leg. I'm sorry if there have been some funny noises. Anyway, and the prize was an answer phone message recorded by Fenella. She was a guest on the show playing her favourite records. Whenever I don't pick up my phone, callers can hear, Mark cannot answer his phone at the moment, so please leave him a message. And remember, he's blue, he's beautiful, he's best. So that's a reference to her role as the Blue Cat in Dougal and the Blue Cat. Have you found out who Johnny Trunk is yet?
Yeah, Johnny Trunk. He's an English writer, broadcaster, and elephant at London Zoo. He formed Trunk Records in 1995, specialised in film music, library music, early electronics, and exotic nostalgic recordings.
Oh, we love him.
Yeah, what
just
a
by
dude.
the sound of him.
Yeah. Come on, Johnny, come out. We'll buy you a pint.
We'll
talk about Vision On.
What radio show does he do? On what channel? This must have been a few years ago because Fenella sadly died relatively recently.
I don't know.
I have mentioned before that I was privileged enough to spare a minibus journey to Port Merion with Fenella Fielding. It was a bad miscalculation on the form of transport. We were told it was going to be an executive bus, but it was basically a school children's bus. So Fenella Fielding and Jeannie from Randall and Hopkirk, I can't remember her real name, and also a woman who was also in The Prisoner.
So he's on Resonance FM.
Oh, Resonance FM that Jamie Griffiths of Big Finish fame does.
There we go, yeah, you see.
Johnny Trunk.
Johnny Trunk.
He's got to say Trunk, hasn't he? He can't say
I'd be
Johnny
really
Trunk.
disappointed if he
Johnny
didn't.
Trunk. Yes, my name's Johnny Trunk. Sir Reginald Trunk.
Sir Reginald Trunk of the Trump. Sir Reginald Trump. Johnny Trunk. Where was he born? He was born. Does it say where he was born? Educated in Guildford.
Oh, that's a bit south.
It doesn't actually say.
He's veering towards Trunk, isn't he?
He is. It doesn't say really where he was born, so we don't know. If you do know, then it just says United Kingdom.
It doesn't say. What kind of internet are we living in?
I know. It's utter madness.
Anyway, Mark Perkins continues. Promise I'll catch up now with the podcast. Not much else to do during the current lurgy lockdown. Cheers, Mark Perkins. Sent from my Samsung Galaxy smartphone. I was expecting something witty there. My Samsung Galaxy Potato. There you are. That's witty, isn't it, to say potato?
Thank you, Baked Potato.
From Johnny Trunk. Baked Potatoes by Johnny Trunk.
Which is nice.
That's an elephant talking.
Yes, well, you can't. Elephants don't talk like that.
They talk like this, don't they? Because they're big things like that.
Well, maybe he's a baby elephant.
Hello, I'm a baby elephant.
Johnny
Trunk.
Oh, we've gone mad. This is what happens when you're confined to your
cabin
home.
fever.
Captain Fever. Now we've got another one here
Johnny
from Jamie Farquhar, sent on the 22nd of the 3rd, 2020. In the year, it's from the future actually, 2147.
Wow.
It says here, a question for the podcast. I do like a question.
Oh, yes.
Hello there. Great job. I'm really enjoying the show. I just wanted to ask you two a simple question.
Thank goodness, because we're rather simple.
What is your favourite and least favourite Dalek story of all time? For me, my favourite is either Dalek Invasion of Earth, or it says here Dalek Invasion on Earth.
There's a Dalek Invasion on Earth.
Or Dalek. My least favourite being Resolution. Jamie.
Oh, gosh.
It's an absolute Titanic
I
question.
think really, going by my sort of reaction at the time, my least favourite is Destiny of the Daleks.
It's not a big favourite of mine. Not a big favourite of mine.
I felt like Terry Nation had forgotten about it. You know, all this business about the Daleks being locked into a logical impasse. I thought the Daleks aren't logical. What do you mean? So I thought he was even insinuating that the Daleks no longer had mutants inside them, which And
then when you did see it, they looked like bits of Play-Doh.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say plasticine, but I think it was more Play-Doh. And he just finds one lying around in the sand, which is very odd. Even though I think there are loads of things to commend it, that's my least favourite, I would say, if forced. Although I'm not that fond of Resurrection either, because of the Dalek voices. All sound like they're being in cupped hands. It's terrible. And also, it makes no sense whatsoever. I know that's shock horror, a Doctor Who story that never made any sense. Resurrection of the Daleks does not bear close examination.
It's got some good. What rescues that story is some good standout moments, I think. Like when the door explodes and the Daleks come through. I remember thinking that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I think there's some gorgeous set design, and also I absolutely love, and I don't get why they didn't use it more. I love the Dalek Supreme in this, the black with the white hemispheres. I just think that looks so good.
What he has this really stupid voice.
Oh, it's dreadful. Yeah,
sorry to Brian Miller there.
Let's be honest. The 80s voices weren't that great. Although when it got to Remembrance of the Daleks, I really liked the fact that they're all a little bit weird.
Yes. Yeah.
Wrong, but weird.
Well, there were some good ones. It depended which set they were shooting on. The modulator was set differently every time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And as regular listeners will know, I've told this boring story so many times. I did ask Dick Mills about it while interviewing him on stage, in inverted commas. I suppose it was really a stage, at the school where they shot Remembrance of the Daleks for a convention. And I asked him, I kept drilling at him why there was no consistency in the Dalek modulation setting. And he eventually just rather impatiently said, oh, well, we never wrote it down. And I thought, well,
that's
goodness
why.
me, it's so blatantly different on location. But I have a theory that the signals from the radio mics were driving the frequency of the modulator up.
That's
and they had
exactly
it at the
what
right
my
setting.
theory is, that it's that something there is interrupting it all.
Because I experienced that a lot in the early days of the new series, of the transmitter that went to the lights, although I know they didn't have that latterly. This is the kind of detail you want, folks. The transmitter from the lights driving the modulation rate up, until Colin Newman, who handled all that stuff on the new series, decided, because we were playing this game where he would try and get the transmitter closer and I'd keep putting it further away. I used to sneak around the back of the set and move it just before a take. He set it at a different frequency. And so
good idea.
I think the third or fourth time I went back, he said, how's that for you? And I went, oh, perfect. And now I can have the transmitter right slap bang next to the modulator and it doesn't interfere at all, which means that I can be the one who turns it on and off, thus saving battery, because poor Colin was having to spend all day going backwards and forwards to his van to get new batteries for the transmitter, which he had to leave on all day. I know this is fascinating. I know
it's important. It's important. This is what the fans want, Nick. This is what they want.
I don't know what my favourite Dalek story is. Did you say what your favourite one was?
I haven't mentioned any of my choices.
You haven't mentioned?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't. I mean, I'm going to say Evil of the Daleks just because I want to see it again. But I know it's flawed, but let's say Evil of the Daleks.
I mean, okay, so my least favourite, this is a controversial one, my least favourite might actually be The Chase.
Fair enough.
Because
it's a lot of Tommy Rot, isn't it?
It is. It's all.
They have escaped. Not possible. Perceptor readings.
It is all like this, and then just messing around on ships, isn't it? And the problem is, it's all filler, and there's no killer in it. The last episode where the mechanoids turn up, there's some quite nice little stuff going on, but it's just a big cobbled together mess. Really, it's the absolute. You have the two great stories. You have the Daleks kick-starting it off. Then you have Dalek Invasion of Earth, which is fantastic. The production's a bit ropey on it, but as a story, it's fun.
Yeah, it's a great
concept. And then
you
can imagine everybody going, we need another one. They chase him through time.
Well, I think by this time, Terry Nation, his career was on the up again after having lost his job with Tony Hancock and having to desperately write Doctor Who. I think suddenly, you know what I mean?
And he just boshed that one out in an afternoon.
He was working on a lot of very important things. So it
wasn't a priority. So I would put that
possibly
down.
If Donald Tosh told me about him delivering the scripts for the Dalek Master Plan, which were, apparently vastly underweight.
But that's that Dalek Master Plan. That's biting off more than you can chew, isn't it? Really, there's a vast story. All of that, and not including Mission to the Unknown.
Yeah,
there's just loads of it.
And allegedly, commissioned entirely because Hugh Weldon, who I think was the controller of BBC Television at the time, I might be getting this appallingly wrong, so apologies. His wife allegedly said, "Well, can we not have more of the Daleks, please?" So they, quick, 12 episodes, fine. I'm sure it didn't happen like that. And I'm even more sure that Hugh Weldon's wife didn't speak like that.
You never know. I mean, I've not met her.
But from now on, in my view, she will.
I mean, yes, Mrs. Sidron smile. In terms of favourite story, I mean, obviously, Death to the Daleks is the one I'm the most sentimental about. My favourite story, it's a toss-up between... I loved the original Dalek story, actually.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's just got such an atmosphere to it. And also, I love Planet of the Daleks, actually.
Yeah,
it's a good comfort.
I love them all, mate. I mean, even Destiny of the Daleks I love. I mean, the Daleks are supremely cruel in that. The interrogation scene with Romana is brilliant.
Oh,
I have blatantly nicked it in several of my Dalek scripts for Big Finish. I love it.
And why not? Quite frankly, why not? There's some interest. I mean, one of the main problems I have with it is purely the lack of consistency between that and Genesis of the Daleks in terms of any design whatsoever. Because I think it would have been much nicer to have revisited, at least made it look like the same sort of bunker. I mean, I suppose the idea is that the Daleks have been building stuff in the time which they've been stuck underground. But I think it just would have been nice to have had the shattered remains, instead of just Davros in the same corridor covered in cobwebs with a terrible mask because they couldn't be bothered to make a new mask, so they just sort of redid the mouth.
That, I mean, bless David Goodison, but I mean, it's a pale imitation of Michael Wisher's performance, isn't it?
That's a very diplomatic way of putting it, Nick.
Yeah, and it's such a shame Michael didn't do it, but he was doing some theatre job.
It's very unfortunate because that would have...
He should have just dumped the theatre job to go back and be Davros, but of course people didn't think of it as a legendary TV programme.
Absolutely.
So it was just another job from the BBC.
He never played Davros again, which, there's pros and cons to that because, the con is we didn't get Michael Wisher, but the pros, Terry came in. Yeah. And we got a fantastic
that's right,
Davros
because Michael Wisher was going to do it in Resurrection of the Daleks.
Really?
But then the story got postponed. Yeah.
God,
isn't that true?
Would have been. I don't know.
Maybe I've got my stories mixed up. But I thought that they were after him to do that. But certainly, yeah.
But in a way, I mean, this is a tangent enough. In a way, though, I almost feel like it kind of works in a good way because I feel like Michael Wisher's performance as Davros is absolutely right for the Davros that we see in Genesis. He's incredibly measured and scientific and precise. And then when you go into the sort of 80s Davros, he's slightly more mad and crazy and impatient because he's the supreme leader of the Daleks, well, trying to be in these stories. So he's got that level of kind of, Terry Malloy channels that level of he's completely bonkers.
Yeah, and Terry's lovely.
And he's lovely. I tell you one thing, I'd not met him until last year in person, right? And we were standing around, I think we were standing by a bar, and I just said hello, and we were just having a chat. And honestly, we were just chatting for ages. He's just the nicest bloke to talk to. And afterwards, I just thought, God, I thought that's actually made the entire weekend. Because he's just so nice. And every time I saw her, we would just start chatting again. It was just nice. It's just, I love it when people are really genuine. It's fantastic. Anyway, oh no, it's your turn now to read the next one out.
Mysterious World from Neil Allen. This was sent on the 26th of March in the year 1548. What was going on in 1548?
Lots of harpsichord music, I think.
Hi again, Benji and Nick. I hope you're both keeping well and surviving in a real-life John Wyndham novel. Yes, I've been catching up with some vintage cult TV, and one of the things I found is the 1980 Arthur C. Clarke Mysterious World on Yorkshire TV. I can remember being fascinated by this programme, and I had the tie-in book to go with it. Nowadays, there are very few mysteries out there, but when this show was made in the late 70s, early 80s, there seemed more unexplainable things like Bigfoot, Stonehenge, crystals, crystal skulls, ancient civilizations, and of course the Loch Ness monster. Loch Ness. Every mystery seems to have a professor with a beard from the Open University trying to solve with the help of some random cagoule wearing students and equipment that looked like it was borrowed from John Pertwee's doctor's laboratory. Talking about mysteries, has Jamie Anderson managed to clone himself? Because I don't believe any person, however skilled, can do all the things he says he's doing when you speak to him on your pod. Does the man ever sleep? Yes, he's probably asleep now. We'll have to wake him up. Here's a list of just a few things Jamie's says he's been doing. Producer, writer, director, running the Anderson media empire, Michelin-starred chef, podcaster, miniature sheep, goat and chicken farmer, international traveller, scientist. Every time you speak to him, he's doing something new. Anyhow, thanks for all your lovely podcasts. Take care. Neil Allen, sent from my iPhone. Potato. That's a joke from the Big Finish podcast, isn't it? Yes, I think it is. Anyway, there we go. Is there any points to answer there? I don't think there are.
No, I think that's
just a beautiful
statement.
I didn't like Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious Worlds. I remember really not liking it, and I'm not sure why. I don't think it's...
I've never seen it, so I don't have anything particularly to bring that. But I'm going to watch it. Definitely going to try and watch it. I can see on YouTube there's a clip that says Crystal Skull, and it looks to me it's just got some old bag is handing a suitcase over, and that's all I can see really.
She
could be a very nice lady.
Woman, I was going to say, wasn't that the woman who used to present the Doctor Who fan show, Crystal Skull? Oh no, it's
Crystal Skull. Very, very good.
Sorry, Crystal. I know you're an avid listener to this podcast. Now, so let's do the Sun Makers. So we're going to the Sunman, going to BritBox. It's just finding the right. There it is. Where's the Sunmakers? There it is. Since season 16, isn't it? Yes. The Sunman. So we're on to episode 3, are we? Here we go. So everything. So we'll go 3, 2, 1, and then press play, shall we? Let's press play on the 1. Okay. Here we go with the Sunmakers, episode 3. 3, 2, 1. Perfect.
TARDIS is whizzing at me. Just going to basically do the same thing we say every time, which is, it looks so brilliant, this title sequence. I love it.
I love that picture of Tom. Love it.
Love it. Love the diamond logo. Very classy. Very nice. It is mesmerising, though.
I remember when they changed to that font. I think that was Mask of Mandragora, wasn't it?
I prefer the Futura font.
Me too.
Much bigger and bolder.
Blockier. Yeah.
There's K9 there, and they're thinking, I can't bother to move the prop.
So where were they? They were filming at IBM somewhere, were they?
Something like that, yeah. They're very impressive. Good corridors.
Yeah, I might look up the location for the Sunmakers. I'm going to write that into the internet.
They have blocked the subway.
It's awful when your subway gets blocked.
Yeah, especially if you're hungry. There you go. K9's now moving. Very good. Oh, look, here's the fun little vehicle. It's all kicking off.
Mistress. K9's just not doing a high voice.
Mistress. Mistress.
Imperial Park, formerly, Will's Tobacco. I can't read it, it's too small.
Tobacco Factory, isn't
Tobacco Factory, yeah. Hartcliffe Way, Hartcliff, Bristol.
Those guns are very impractical.
Yeah, they're rubbish, aren't they? I mean, let's not mince words.
It's just a
It's like this isn't real.
It's like this is science fiction.
My son realised today that sci-fi is an abbreviation for science fiction.
Well, did he not think about that?
No, we were discussing the genre of a film he watched. I said, I think it's science fiction. He said, I think it's sci-fi. I said, that is science fiction. He said, no, it isn't. I said, yeah, it's science fiction. SCI, yeah. Anyway,
it all makes sense. When I was a kid, I used to think it was sci-fi.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people call it.
K9's thinking, how on earth am I going to get past those two blokes on the floor now?
Oh, luckily, they're
going to pick him up.
That looked like they were standing behind them, didn't it? That cut, the grammar of it was all wrong.
It was wrong, yeah.
I mean, are they behind them? Are they going? As she crushes, those bodies have gone. The
Funny
bodies have
that, isn't it?
disappeared.
Where can you hide these bodies in a corridor with no doors? Also,
She's just crushed them.
how can Leela, the primitive, manage to operate and know how to drive? Quite frankly?
Now they're in front of them. Oh, I see. They were the other way. So have they? They've just run them over. Yeah. Yeah, they just. It'd be great if there's all sorts of gristle and bone attached to this.
Bloods like trailing along. And how does she know that shoots anything out at all? Quite frankly,
well, because she's clever, isn't she?
She's a primitive.
She's clever like a fox. This is the most lackluster battle scene that was ever committed to film. You didn't even see her fall. Can't help her. Can't help the bad direction and no time to film this.
And the vehicle that's definitely going slower than somebody could run to catch up with.
Yes.
Oh, there's Oliver Reed. He does look like Oliver Reed.
He's got that vibe going on, hasn't he?
He really has.
Aha! With a brain your size, you don't think, right?
Tom Baker with a voice there, like sort of honey.
I suspect
honey and
there's a
Earl
bit,
Grey tea.
But yeah, I don't
And
like
cigarettes.
Earl Grey tea. And whiskey. That guy who hit him, what was he? He turns up in the Invasion of Time.
He does, doesn't he? Wasn't he?
One of the outsiders.
Didn't he play a tramp once in something as well?
Well, I don't doubt it with hair like that.
I don't doubt it. Oh, blimey.
Oh, a bit of villa spit.
Why not, eh?
Oh, we're going to shine this torch on you.
We're going to illuminate your skin.
Knowing Tom's sort of frame of mind and the way he works, or just do a marshmallow in there. A lot of these lines, you know that Tom has really adjusted them to make them more interesting. I just realised his character's name is Mandrill.
That's
Did we mention
interesting.
that? Yeah, and they had the Mandrills in a couple of seasons' time, the famously flared-trousered aliens, or flared feet.
I've got good taste. I keep wanting slash
looks
waiting
tasty, that.
for them all to burst into song, because it just looks like a musical, doesn't it? It looks like a set where they're all suddenly going to go,
Yes.
burning the doctor's face.
Shoo-biddy-boo-bap-boo.
Would you stop poking me with this annoying stick?
It's a shame that it doesn't look remotely hot, isn't it? It's the wrong kind
Yes.
of red.
That look. Huh?
I've got Jamie Anderson saying, will you send me a link? I will. Carry on talking. I'm just messaging Jamie.
That's fine.
That's a bit risque, that shot, isn't it?
It is. It's deliberately so, I imagine.
Yes.
This is a story of lots of whoever has written this story is really into automated vehicles, aren't they? Automated.
Well, Robert Holmes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very revealing for poor Louise, isn't it? I feel, as a friend of hers, I feel like I must avert my eyes. Actually, I feel like I've accidentally stumbled into the bathroom.
The 70s is somewhat shameless in that regard, isn't it? It's just, I love that. Just look at that ladder. It's literally a ladder you can buy from Halfords, stuck in that. There's just
The Planet Halfords.
that's where the warehouse is kept, all the stock, isn't it? The Planet Halford.
It is Halfords, this, I think, yeah.
You
It's
were
crazy talk. Rebellion. Talking of Louise Jameson's lavatory, which I said
Common conversation.
I stumbled into when I had that view of her nether regions. I told you the story about, because Louise always takes the mickey out of me because she says I'm a bit scatological and I'm always talking about poo and things, which isn't true, by the way. But she says, every time I mention something like that comes into the conversation, she looks at her watch and notes the time very loudly.
And how long it took you.
So I deliberately, when I stayed at her place once, because she often has people over to stay when we're recording in Tunbridge Wells, she has a little notepad in her loo, her upstairs loo, where you can just write interesting messages. So a couple of years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago now, I wrote into the date and said, Nick Briggs had a poo. And then years later, she discovered it. She came into the studio. She said, I was just looking through my notepad in my toilet. And I went, yes, you found it finally, did you? Yes.
It's been years. I still didn't flush.
Oh, God, no. But she does tell people that story now.
She's good fun, is Louise.
She is. David Richardson, the Big Finish senior producer, is having a virtual dinner with her, I think, tonight, actually.
Oh, wow.
She's going to be eating at her end, and he'll be...
Well, I've had a virtual evening with my my auntie and uncle. We all just set up the camera in the lounge and sat and had a few drinks with them. The future is now. I love that. He doesn't even care. He doesn't even look up.
I'll split you.
Just focused on the job.
She doesn't know where she was born. Interesting. It's true, they never named the planet, did they, in Face of Evil?
Didn't bother, no.
Didn't bother, yeah.
Sajid Javid there on the computer.
Who is that voice? He sounds like a BBC announcer, doesn't he? And now on BBC One.
That's a good modulation effect, isn't it?
Tellurian is one of Robert Holmes's favourite words for
Tellurian.
Earth. It does actually mean of Earth, Tellurian, I think.
Does it really?
Yeah. Tellurian. I'm just typing it into my dictionary. No, the Apple dictionary is absolute pants. It never has anything in it. If I typed in it'd probably go unknown word.
Unknown word, magic.
Tellurian.
It looks a surprisingly comfortable straitjacket, as straitjackets go. I mean, I'm no connoisseur, but
Tellurian is a natural gas company headquartered in Houston. Tellurian may refer to anything pertaining to Earth.
That's interesting. That is very interesting.
Tellurion, an astronomical device. A Tellurian, second album by Soen. Who is Soen?
I don't know.
Oligarchic rulers of the planet Gallifrey. So 005 is a request for information.
005. Now we know.
We should use that, shouldn't we? So, could you get me a 005 on potatoes?
Yes, certainly. Logging potatoes in the system. Look, there's a trunk there.
Oh, is it Johnny Trunk?
It says Johnny Trunk. Oh, look at that wonderful little gadge there.
Yeah.
This would make a very good stage play, though, in fairness.
Yeah.
You could adapt it to work quite well, I think.
Yes. It makes a profit. This is Robert Holmes' critique of capitalism here. So, once you analyse what it's for, it's actually relatively pointless. But he says, controversially, isn't life anyway? As Basil Fawlty said, beats me, we're stuck with it, I suppose.
One of the best quotes, that one.
It does look, talking of my scatologicalness, it does... I love this bit of music here, by the way. Now, what is that? Is that a photograph of a bad model?
It's a model, isn't it? Surely...
It just looks like a photograph.
Oh, look, it's that great... It's a massive gear stick.
Yes, he's got first, second, third, fourth and fifth and reverse. I wonder if the reverse is the one that goes forwards or backwards. I mean, on the sign. Obviously, reverse goes backwards.
He must have terrible trouble when he goes through doors.
Oh, terrible!
Ouch! Not again.
Yes.
Time Lord. He's a Time Lord.
He's a Time Lord.
I like the way he speaks.
It is fun, though. It's a fun story.
It is. Your voluminousness.
Violence.
He has a different way of bigging him up every time, doesn't he?
It really does.
Long live it.
That's the button it makes him to soil himself, which is you just saw. Oh no. I feel like more people
From
should
your
wear.
personal look. That's when he says he's paying for it. A cry of gladness.
As we say every time, he is loving it, isn't he?
It's fantastic. This execution, this steaming thing, is really horrific.
It's a horrific. There are some elements of this story which are pretty brutal, aren't they? Really.
Very much so.
He's great.
Enormity. He's calling him Enormity now. Enormity will attend.
Your eminence, sir. Your effervescence, sir.
Just was mesmerised at what Nick was looking at for a moment there. I completely forgot. He's got a nice napkin in his pocket there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a style, isn't it?
Stole that from a table, didn't he?
Just as he was gliding past.
I'll have that. It was my table anyway.
He's got eyebrows like spiders' legs. I think that more people should wear capes. I feel that's a lost thing now. You know,
Definitely, because they're so practical, aren't they?
They are very practical. You can, I don't know.
I remember finding this a lot of fun because you don't know what he's up to here. This is lovely. The Doctor doing a bit of nonsense. And they're all thinking, what's he doing? That's so typically Tom.
Do you think it's in the script?
Yeah, but the way he did that twirl in front of the camera. One more time. And they're all going, what's going on? Why? Tom looked at him there like he wanted to kick him, didn't he? That's all, Tom. That was not in the script, I'm telling you.
He hates it.
Look at that.
That's remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah. Louise is taking it well, though, isn't she? Just hanging around. Oh, this guy, this is his ha-ha-ha scene.
He looks like he's got a bucket on his head.
He just thinks everything's funny, this guy.
He's good. We should invite him on the podcast. He'd big us up.
He's already laughing. Look. Oh, what a turd. She's brilliant. I feel a chuckle coming on.
Yeah. I'll just.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. He loves it. Oh, I think there should have been one more laugh where he splits his sides as he goes
He just pokes his head out the door.
Yeah, round the corner again. And by the way, meanwhile, back on location, concrete breeze box.
It looks cold in there, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
That's where all the lorries presumably were loading all the tobacco.
We just put a few tubes and things in here to make it look sci-fi.
Yeah, good enough, good enough. Oliver Reed with a giant bit of wood in his hand. Whack.
Here's the woman who's being sexually abused by him.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
Yeah. What? Talking of gender politics, of course, that whole business about the other guy having to drive instead of Leela was a bit of misogyny there.
Yeah, it's the 70s, isn't it, unfortunately? You know.
I love this bit of plot here that is... because he's going to have to pay the rewards himself. He's desperate to go into action on his own with a gun. I love
Save
that.
himself some money.
It's like Boris Johnson suddenly sort of taking an air gun and saying, I'm going to stop people from leaving their houses.
Myself.
Even though I've got coronavirus.
That wobbly wheel there.
Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, there's nothing... Oh, there he is.
I wonder what happened to those photos. They're rather brilliant, aren't they?
Oh, I'm sure Clayton Hickman has got them. I love this. Well, suddenly, oh, it's him. He's a...
Yeah, die.
It's
A variety of different pairs of trousers there. Different styles.
I'm glad you brought this up because there's not enough trouser discussion in this podcast.
No, there isn't. There should be.
Yes. Oh, yes, it is. You're right. A variety of trouser stuff.
Flared trousers, tucked in trousers, straight
and now
trousers.
on BBC One, a variety of trouser styles in Doctor Who, The Sunmakers, Episode 3.
Commentary by the Trouser Company Limited. As you can see, there's a Mark IV trunk there.
Hackett, Hinge and Bracket or something they're called. They made the names up on the studio floor, apparently, or during rehearsals.
This is great fun, isn't it?
Yeah. What? I love lines like that. The bleeding obvious. Actors always object to saying the bleeding obvious, but people do say the bleeding obvious, don't they?
People do. They don't think about it.
My wife's just arrived.
Oh.
Yes. Hello.
I'm going down to Morrison's.
Okay.
Ben's home.
There's two pairs of dart guns there.
Did you sort out BritBox?
Yeah, I'm watching it now.
Okay, so it works.
Their guns look like the things you use on creme brulee to melt the sugar on top.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's those two shots of the Doctor. They were not his scarf was positioned differently. Did you notice that? So it wasn't like two versions of the same shot.
That's
interesting.
interesting.
That's interesting. Oh, it is interesting. Thank you.
I think it's interesting. There could have just been, I don't know, continuity photos or something. I mean, I doubt they bothered to do them, but I like the idea of it.
They wouldn't have had time because they were shooting continuously. They might have done it for location work.
Heat exchange will blow up. Those gauges on the wall.
And then we go straight
there.
down the pub.
Yeah, let's go. I mean, I've got to star in my next Oliver Reed film.
What about
Triple
the
Echo?
gauges? Do you like them?
I like those. Yeah, the things on the wall. They're sort of very children's television, aren't they?
Yes.
There's three Scale Electrics kits on the wall there.
Of different colours. What?
What?
The Doctor's contempt for K9 is barely disguised as what?
He's really had enough now.
Look at this. Yes.
He's not having none of it, is he?
He loves it now, you see. But he's not grateful. In later stories, he'd be much more grateful and kindly towards K9. Oh, look at that. It's really horrible manhandling her into that thing.
That you can see the lights inside K9's casing there, flashing through the gap.
Oh, do you like that sound effect? That.
It's very nice. Filters on that.
It's horribly brutal, isn't it, seeing her being pushed around and struggling.
Even worse in a minute when somebody gets fed up and switches over the channel to snooker. I wanted to watch it. There's a game on at 4. This is horror. No, you're right. This is very,
Yeah.
something archaic about it as well. All the horrible sort of instruments like that.
And the blood on her face. Yeah. He doesn't like the fact that there's a poor turnout.
We can't afford many extras on Doctor Who.
Sorry. It's funny, isn't it, how you can't really be a villain without calling the Doctor the Doctor.
I try to resist that, actually. People want me to do that as the Daleks, Doctor, but I always say, Doctor!
The Doctor.
I mean, the Daleks may be maniacs, but they're not stupid, are they?
Doctor.
Quote unquote.
Davros was Terry Malloy's Davros is Doctor.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't actually know if Michael Wisher even said Doctor in there.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Doctor,
yeah.
you will tell me, Doctor.
Yes, he says doctor.
You will take me to the doctor. I have a flu. I have a bad foot. He only wanted to reverse the pump so he could hear that noise again.
Yes, I like that noise. Oh. Benji had a bit of a recording problem then.
Okay, she's going into the steamer. Shooting along on a little rail car.
It's job satisfaction. It's such an intricate way of killing someone, isn't it?
Well, I sort of feel like if you're a villain, you kind of have to have an intricate way of killing somebody. Otherwise, it's not worth it, is it?
It's like Tom has always said, that somehow fantastical violence is less disturbing than, mundane violence, isn't it?
Well, hanging somebody is horrific because it's real. Whereas, I don't know, boiling somebody in a giant boiled egg is
hold on.
somewhat comical,
I mean, not that this is really relevant here, but I've often thought, who is it who came up with all these methods of killing people just in real life? I mean, the terrible, terrible executions. Oh, here we go.
Oliver Reed's looking worried.
Yes. And so is Louise. There we are. The Sunman.
The Sunman there. Oh.
Well, as
kicking
that
off.
finishes, I'll send an invitation
To Gerald Anderson.
Gerald Anderson, the famous
chef.
Yes. See if he responds.
Respond. I would do it. That sort of power would set me up against the gods.
Up above the gods. Sorry to be a pedant.
Yes, well, I'm gonna steam you now. For ruining my life, my livelihood.
Oh, right. Oh, God, I've gone on to episode 4. Stop it.
Stop it, bring it down.
Thank you. I wonder whether Jamie's going to be joining us.
You should do.
I'll just text him to tell him I've emailed him an invitation. We have to ask him about his favourite and least favourite Dalek stories.
That'll be his question this week, I think.
And we'll also ask him what we have to do next week, I think. We'll just make him responsible for our lives. Here he is!
Hey! How goes it, good sir?
It's very well. You're coming from a very exotic location there, Benji, I can see.
I am. I'm just catching a few rays.
Wow. Yeah, impressive.
Rather good, isn't it?
It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird.
So, welcome.
Hello!
How are you? How are you finding this crazy time of being inside a lot?
It's not a huge amount different for me, really, at the farm. Sat in front of a computer, tapping away.
I suppose being on a farm, you've probably got a good amount of land to walk around on as well, which is quite nice.
Sounds a bit like I'm lording it up, though. So, yes, it's lovely. No, it's very nice. And, I can go outside and go and do things around the farm and feel like I've achieved something, even if I haven't achieved it the rest of the time. So it's all good.
That is good, actually. Fair play.
And are you coping, Benji? I know you were sharing your studio for a short period. Is that still going on?
Yeah, it's still going on. Not at this particular moment, but yeah, it's all right. It's a little bit more distracting than usual, but it's not like I get on well with everybody in this house, so it's sort of fine, really.
What do you mean? He's on Tracy Island. He's not quarantined at all.
Yeah, I'm living it up,
Got flown out there by Tiger Moth, and the house he's referring to is the Tracy Villa. So it's looking really smart. Have you taken a ride on the Thunderbird 3 couch yet, Benji?
I've not had a chance, no, because we've all fallen out a little bit because nobody's allowed to take off more than once a day. So we keep finding that everybody keeps sort of fighting over who can go on the couch for the longest. Thunderbird 2's been out for hours, and
is that an essential flight?
Well, this is it. I think it seems everybody seems to be taking off and just staying in the air for as long as possible to justify being out. You see, so Scott's gone crazy. It's all.
What about John on Thunderbird 5? I mean,
he's laughing. He's laughing. He's laughing. So he's fine up there. Doesn't need to wash his hands.
Like a madman, he's laughing.
He's been practicing isolation for 55 years. So
yeah, he's going to choose this point to now crack and want to come home.
Oh dear.
Good times.
So we've got 2 questions for you, Jamie.
Have you? By the way, I just wanted to say that when you speak, Nicholas Briggs, it actually tells me that your name is David Richardson.
That's correct. This account was set up by David for Big Finish.
Oh, I see. Just amuse me. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. 2 questions.
But I am actually changing my name to David Richardson.
Please do.
The questions are this. Well, the first question is, it was asked by a listener, and I just thought it was asked of us. It's a long build-up to this question. You're getting more and more worried. What is your favourite and least favourite Dalek story in Doctor Who?
Oh,
it's a real biggie, that one.
We could do a recap of ours. Benji, what were yours?
Okay, so my favourite, it was a toss-up between The Daleks and Planet of the Daleks, and my least favourite is The Chase.
Interesting. Okay.
My favourite, Evil of the Daleks, and least favourite, Destiny of the Daleks.
Okay. Can I be a bit awkward? You're used to it now.
Yeah.
And say that I've never seen any of them.
What is a Dalek? Yeah. No.
It's one of these.
Weirdly. Oh, nice. Thank you for getting that out. Strangely, I think my favourite and least favourite is actually the same story.
Oh.
But can I explain why? It's because the first...
No, sorry, there's no time.
Okay, bye. It's a nice being to you.
Go on, yes. We can't have any interesting content.
I just want yes and no answers and then go away. It's because the first Doctor Who episode I ever saw, story I ever saw, was Day of the Daleks. So that was my entire introduction to Doctor Who. And then obviously, it's got certain lame elements to it, and there aren't very many Daleks. And then when I went on to see more and more Dalek stories, they were all kind of much more exciting than this tiny micro Dalek army, which came back through time to blah 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 blah. So it went from being the kind of the most exciting thing I've ever seen to that's a bit rubbish actually.
Yeah.
So it kind of sits emotionally.
Do you like the
as my
special edition though? There are a lot more Daleks in the
there
special
are a
edition.
lot more, and I really did enjoy watching that, and also the lovely blaster sound in that is a particularly great but weird sound effect.
Yes.
It doesn't really
I can't
fit.
quite do it.
Yeah. It's weird. It is weird. It's not dramatic at all, is it? It's like a sort of electronic pea shooter.
Because it's so prolonged as well. It doesn't have any kind of kick to it. But yeah, there you go. So Day of the Daleks. In fact, on my VHS, it was The Day of the Daleks because it was that one that was mistitled. But yeah, is my favourite and least favourite. Weirdly.
Wow.
It's a solid story. I remember when I first saw it growing up, it was one of my least favourite Dalek stories. I think because I wanted lots of Daleks screaming and shouting and doing things, but then the older I got, and when I watched it with a more mature head on, I realised that the story is fantastic.
Yes, I would
Jamie
agree
there with a
that.
look of disdain when I said mature head.
Mature?
Never.
The disdain look was because my neighbour is using a hammer drill to do something, and so I can hear this sort of flatulent sound coming through the wall.
Yes, I could do that.
Yeah, sorry, it was my neighbour.
I agree with that, Benji. I do. I remember even at the time, actually, I started off being excited about the Daleks being back because it felt to me as a young fan that the Daleks hadn't been in it forever. And then when they came back, I thought, I remember getting quite bored by the final episode. and seeing 3 Daleks invading a house. Especially there's that shot of them sort of around the French windows, isn't there, where the Daleks are kind of like, they're like nosy neighbours rather than invaders. They're
Curtain
like,
twitchers.
Is there anyone in here at all? No, right, let's go back to the future.
It would be, though, a tremendous story to actually, say that people were redoing stories. I know that obviously this has been doctored with stuff, but as an actual story that you could do from scratch, it would be a really good one with loads of potential to be really interesting.
Well, it's sort of like the Terminator story, isn't it? The sort of history time loop thing, isn't it? So yeah, it's not an original sci-fi thing, but it would be fun to see it done spectacularly. It's kind of like a movie storyline, isn't it, really?
It is, yeah.
Like Death to the Daleks is as well. You could make a cracking movie out of Death to the Daleks, I think. It's got that sort of structure to it.
It's wonderful,
But you have to I do like the idea that the Daleks have gone back in time because they're interested in Reginald Stiles' 3-piece suite or something.
Yeah, they just love the property.
Nice footprint.
Yeah, they discovered that it was woefully undervalued when it was sold a few years later, and they wanted to get a foot in the door,
A bumper in the door.
Yes.
Our other question concerns our podcast, Jamie, which is that what are we going to do next week?
Oh, when we were supposed to be going to Foxley Manor.
No, I don't mean that, actually. I mean, what are Benji and I going to do next week? Yeah, but what? We're not going to Foxley Manor, since you bring that up.
No, we're absolutely not doing that. Well, I mean, what level of cult do you want to go to? Do you want an Anderson thing to go to? Have you done one for a while?
Well, yeah. What we need is something that we can watch that we can both easily get access to.
Yeah. I mean, Space Precinct. That would be fun.
It could be quite fun. Quite fun.
How can we get access to it?
I can send you a link and you can watch The Fire Within Part 1 and 2.
Is that the first 2 episodes?
No, it's the last 2, I think.
Oh.
So it's fun. But I mean, in honour possibly of Bill Pearson, who died a couple of days ago, who was the main model maker on Space Precinct. There you go.
Well, let us do that.
That would be ideal.
Fire Within Space Precinct.
Okay, I can see you're so excited by this.
I've not seen it in so long. So for me, it's going to be really interesting.
Is that Sir Reginald Stiles' house behind you?
It's
now,
Foxley
Benji?
Manor.
Oh,
I'm
right,
here.
so-
I'm on location.
He's already. Is that what Foxley Manor looks like?
I don't. But this is it. Every time I've googled it, it comes up as that. But I don't actually think it's that. I can't work it out.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
much
it's a
smaller
different
than
one.
that.
Yeah, unless it's round the back that we normally see, and we never get to see that bit that you're looking at now.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, that's weird. Look who's calling me.
Oh,
Robbie
how
Stevens.
peculiar.
Young stud. Shall we have him on as well?
Yeah, why not?
Hello, Robbie Stevens. Do not swear because you're now live on a podcast.
I wouldn't dream of it, Jamie. Who on earth do you think I am?
Sorry, I thought you were Jeremy Hitchin for a minute. No, you're live on you're live on the Benji and Nick show, on which I am occasionally called in. So say hello to Nick Briggs and Benji Clifford.
Oh, hi guys.
He's doing the voice.
He
can't hear us, though,
no, but
can he?
he can't hear you. You're right. Yes. So, Rob, shall I call you back shortly? Is that all right?
Yes, I'm sorry. I've just got a question, but I'll carry on in the meantime, Jamie. No
All
problem.
right, I'll speak to you shortly.
Thanks. Sorry to interrupt. Cheers,
Bye.
He's such a nice man, isn't he? There we are. One of the main voice artists from Terrorhawks, just in case you didn't know.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to do next time. So, Jamie, well, shall I say goodbye to you then?
Probably, yeah. I better go and... There's my little dog barking now as well. Yes, I think it's time that I leave. You're with the Creons there now, Benji.
With the
I see.
With the lads.
With the lads, in honour of Space Precinct. Yeah, I'll go and leave you to it. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
Cheerio.
Take care.
Goodbye.
How does he go?
I'm gone.
He's gone.
He's gone. He's
I'm
vanished.
glad he sorted that out. Well, so time to get close to the microphone.
Time to get close. Yes, it's
Thank you for
marvellous.
joining us.
Thank you so much, and do keep your eyes peeled. We're flirting with the idea of doing something live on Facebook soon. So
Yeah.
keep your eyes peeled, get your questions ready, and we'll see what we can do.
Yes, and don't forget to send your emails in to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. In the meantime, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.
Pressing stop now.